Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you're having a great Thursday evening and got you a long and detailed update on what's going on with this winter storm that's really going to be cranking up here in the next 24 hours to the Carolinas. And then as we get into Saturday, this has really turned out, well, it's looking like it's going to be a blockbuster, a winter storm for areas of New England and Boston, point south into Cape Cod. This could even Long Island and just the entire Rhode Island and Massachusetts area, Connecticut. This is going to be a big time storm, especially the southeast regions of New England. So that's what we're going to break down this. We're also going to talk about the snow threat in the Carolinas, but we're going to do something a little different in this video. We're really going to start off by talking about the Northeast first and then work our way into the Carolina snow threat towards the end of this video, because this is starting to trend into a life-threatening storm for areas of New England. So I feel like we need to mention that first and then work our way to the Carolinas, which is going to be just more so a light to moderate event. I don't think it's going to be anything really that's going to disrupt a whole lot of things at all, really. It's just going to be nice to look at, honestly. So if you guys have not subscribed, definitely hit the subscribe button for me. Like the video if you like it. My social media links are over here. It's a great way to stay up to date with the latest information. I try to post hourly to at least every 2 hours on the latest model information. So it's just a great way to stay up to date with information. So let's get going here because there's a lot to discuss. Right now, this is the watches and warnings. You have winter storm warnings already up for portions of the northwest flow prone areas in the mountains of North Carolina and Tennessee. They're going to see several inches of snow. This area blue right here is winter storm watches. There's still a question mark on what's going to happen here, how far west the precipitation from this coastal low is going to get. And winter storm watch is up for southeastern Virginia, and then areas of far northeast North Carolina that could still get a few inches of snow for sure. Winter storm warnings up for southern Delaware into the Delmarva area. Winter storm warnings up basically for the entire coastal region of New Jersey, and then winter storm watch is up. But this will all get expanded northeast in time, probably in the overnight hours. So this is a big deal. It's cranking up, and it's about to get going here. I want to take a look at like I said, we're going to start off by talking about the Northeast first, and we're going to work our way to the Carolinas. So if that's all you want to hear about, I don't blame you for skipping ahead. That's probably the midway part of the video. But let's talk about the Northeast because this is a big deal. This is the latest GFS from the 18Z, right? So I'm going to pause it right here. Obviously, you can tell it if you've been watching my videos. This GFS run already looks much better in terms with people who want winter more snow. This already looks more favorable for winter weather for a lot of people, right? So there's been a battle. There's always a battle between the GFS and the European, and historically the European model is the more dominant and model, and probably the model that wins more often when it comes to forecasting storms and trying to predict them. The GFS has been winning a lot lately, but the GFS has completely caved to the European model with the storm, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So let's stop it right here. This is for Saturday afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. We'll back it up 3 runs. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're going to pause it right here. This is the OOZ from overnight last night. So this is 18 hours ago. It's 3 runs back. So watch the western flank of this snow as I go into the most present run. So 1, 2, 3. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what happened there. The same time frame, the western extent of the basically this tight gradient setting up here of snow shifts west. So it puts more people in play. The European has had it like this for the last 2 or 3 days. It shifted east a couple times, but it always kind of corrected. It never was a big shift, and it always kind of corrected itself. But the GFS is really caving to the European, I would say. But this would be a big snowstorm. This cranks up as early as Saturday morning. You got snow breaking out in the Delmarva area. Basically, the more tucked you are into the coast, to the Delmarva area, Delaware, New Jersey, the more snow you're going to get. This is going to be, you're not going to have any mixing issues. It's not going to mix with rain. You got very cold temperatures. In fact, I don't think really anybody in these areas right here are going to see 10-to-1 ratios. This is going to be like 15-to-1 ratios, especially as you get into Boston. And if you don't know what that means 15 inches of snow, for example, to 1 inch of liquid moisture. So if 1 inch of precipitation fell, it would end up being equivalent to 15 inches of snow. Usually in the southeast, for example, we get like 7-to-1 ratio. The ratio is a lot lower because the snow is falling in a lot warmer temperatures. But this is going to be a powder snow. You're going to get powder blasted here in basically southern New England. It's going to be an impactful storm. We'll take a look at the latest Euro, and the 18Z is about to come out. I tried to wait for it to come out, but I just wanted to go on and I was antsy about making the video and just going to get it going here. So let's take a look at the latest European. This is from 12Z earlier today. We'll try to get this rolling here. My panels are moving a little bit slow. And we'll back it up here now because now it's moving too fast. I'm sorry, guys. My bad. I don't know why it's doing this. Anyways, let me click this and we'll move it forward here in time. And this is getting into Saturday morning. Heavy snow breaking out for areas of New Jersey, the Delmarva area. Getting into further in Saturdays is about 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You got really heavy snow. Still not really making it to New York City. You got more so moderate snow, but the eastern tip of Long Island into southern New England, especially southeast New England, is really getting slammed here. But you see these like pinkish purple areas coming up. This is very, very heavy snow slamming Cape Cod right here. Right in here, I'm gonna talk about the wind speeds here in a second too. This is where you could get blizzard conditions right into here. I really think so. Even sneaking into Boston. But this is going to be some crazy banding going on here. You're going to have 3 to 4 inch per hour rates. It's going to be falling, and the snowfall rates are going to be insane. But here's that band pivoting into Boston as you're getting to Saturday afternoon. That heavier snow showing up here. Some very, very heavy snow that pivots in, and then it pivots out as you get into your Sunday morning, and then it clears out. But not before dropping a ridiculous amount of snow in these areas. We'll take a look at the GFS, right? So we'll pull that up and then we'll pull this. So this is the 12Z GFS, right? Shows 8 to 9 inches of snow in Boston. And it barely even shows an inch in New York City, for example. And then it doesn't really hardly show anything in Baltimore and Philadelphia in this region right here. You look at the latest GFS, right? And it inches the snow a little bit further west. And now you got some decent accumulations of 3 to 5 inches showing up in Baltimore and Philadelphia and places like that. It's even Washington D.C. a couple inches of snow. Delaware, the newest GFS is now giving y'all well over a half a foot of snow. The Delaware Peninsula is getting hit really hard, and now it went from 8 or 9 inches in Boston to 20 inches of snow in Boston from the latest GFS. That's just one tweak of the GFS, and look how much different it looks. Right, this is the same GFS that's had almost all the heaviest snowfall well out to sea the last few runs. So it's a big shift. It really is. And you look at the European run from 12Z, it's dropping 2 feet of snow on Boston. I think that's going to be more because this is 10-to-1 ratio. It's going to be snowing in like the low 20s to teens in these areas right here. So the snowfall ratio is going to be insane. It's going to be blowing around. It's going to be a dry snow. And yeah, it's definitely not going to be a heavy, wet snow. So it's going to be basically just a powder bomb going off here. I would say a paste bomb, but we normally say that when you have a really, really heavy, wet snow. But this is just going to be powder, pure powder. And I really think that it could be closer to 2 to 3 feet of snow in these areas right into here. But you look at the Euro for areas of Delaware, maybe a foot of snow in southern Delaware. The entire Delmarva area, especially southern areas of the Delmarva area and the eastern areas, gets hit really hard. The peninsula gets hit really hard. But you check out New Jersey, for example. You only got maybe 1 to 3 inches on the far northwest areas of New Jersey, but south or along the shoreline, you're getting over almost a foot of snow. I think Long Island's going to be wild. I think maybe areas, unless this continues to shift northwest, which it most certainly can. It can continue to do so. It can really can. But I think areas in eastern Long Island could see maybe a foot and a half of snow, but maybe closer to New York City could see more so, 8 to 12 inches of snow. But it's hard to even pin down snow totals right now because right now we got what you call a trend going on. So it's continuing to tick northwest or west. So we're not done trying to figure out and iron out our totals, but I can tell you, you're going to have a massive west trend to basically, or east trend, to get Boston out of these insane snowfall totals. They're starting to show up here. You really are. As far as wind speeds, this is going to be an all-out blizzard. It really is. As we're getting into basically, let's back it up into our Saturday morning. Winds are going to pick up in southern New England. All the states involved here. Anywhere from 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts are going to start moving in, and then we start to get into Saturday afternoon out here on the Cape. It's going to be gusting to 40 to 60 mile per hour winds out here, And then Boston's going to be gusting to the same kind of deal, probably not quite as insane as the areas out in Cape Cod. There's a lot of storm chasers going out to this area for this event. I don't blame them. I could if I would. I could if I would. I wish I could is basically what I'm saying. But that's a long trip from South Carolina. But anyways, this is going to be an impactful storm. It's not just a nice 6 to 8 inch snowfall with hardly no winds. No, this is going to be an all-out nor'easter, an all-out blizzard. In fact, I expect blizzard warnings to get issued for these areas. It's going to be a big deal, guys. It really is. As far as a closer up look at these snowfall totals for the Euro for these areas, 1 to 2 feet. I think in Massachusetts and Connecticut, your states are going to definitely be cut in half between the western halves of the state. There's going to just see a few inches of snow, and then the far eastern half of the state could see feet of snow. So it's hard to figure out exactly what's going to happen with this, but if this continues to tick west, then these areas are obviously going to see more snow, obviously. But check out Long Island. You guys out on Long Island, even you guys on the eastern end of Long Island, you guys are going to get rocked. I mean, you are. It's not like you guys aren't totally unused to this. This happens sometimes. It almost happens yearly. This is going to be the biggest one in probably a couple years for this area, I would think. But this is the National Weather Service predictions on how much snow is showing up. You got anywhere from 4 to 6 inches for areas of getting into Baltimore to Philadelphia. You got 8 to 9 inches in New York City. You got 1.5 feet in Boston. And this is the National Weather Service, Delaware, you got over 1 foot of snow in the southern half of Delaware. The northern half of Delaware, obviously not that much. But this is the real deal, folks, in the National Weather Service in Boston. And this was issued at 12:34 p.m. before new model data came in. So this could be updated. I really think, in fact, they mentioned the fact that they were probably going to hatch some areas of probably the 24 to 36 inch range is probably going to start to open up here. In fact, I think Boston's probably going to get bumped up to 18 to 24 inches from what I read in their discussion. So these are going to get updated, but it's a real deal, folks. National Weather Service already honing in on 1 to 2 feet of snow in these areas. Let's look at the National Weather Service in New York City. They just dropped this graphic earlier this evening, and it's mentioning maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch per hour rate showing up in this range in the New York City area. But then you get out into the eastern areas of Long Island, and then obviously the south shores of Connecticut. Anywhere from 8 to 12 to 13 to 14 inches of snow here, and then 1 to 2 inch per hour rates. All these discussions are available online. It's very, very simple to look up. This is really what fascinates me. Mount Holly, Philadelphia, 4 to 6 inches of snow, but if you go an hour to your east, then you might get 1 foot of snow. Atlantic City, 12 to 18 inches of snow. You guys on the coastal areas, you're not going to be dealing with any warm air. So I know this area a lot of times mixes big time, and a lot of times it cuts down on your snowfall totals, but you're not going to be mixing at all. This is going to be a big snowfall for these areas in eastern New Jersey. It really is. The coastal areas are going to get slammed here. You take a look at the National Weather Service in Wakefield, which covers Norfolk and places like that. I don't even care how I pronounce it anymore, folks. It doesn't even matter to me, guys. So y'all definitely blast me if I said it wrong there. But Richmond, I've had a lot of people from the Richmond area, ask about this. But your National Weather Service is calling for 1 to 2 inches of snow, and I know that's a bummer for some folks. But hey, it's snow. I would love 1 to 2 inches of snow. I wish they were forecasting that in my house. But the peninsula here, 6 to 8 inches of snow. But then you get into these southern areas of Delaware, then you can get over 1 foot of snow. But Norfolk, hopefully I said that right, guys. I hope I did for you folks. But 2 to 3 inches of snow right now. But this can overachieve. Elizabeth City, far northeastern North Carolina, 2 to 3 inches of snow. So all those are available online for you guys. But like I said, this is going to be a big event for New England. I know y'all have seen events like this before, so it's not like y'all totally are not prepared. But this is going to be one of probably the biggest, unless what happens after this, will be the biggest storm of the year for sure for these areas. So let's talk about the Carolinas, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at this backside snow band that's been showing up here. We're going to back it up here, stop it here, because pivotal weather is just going haywire. So the GFS is consistently showing, and all models are consistently showing this backside band. This is what the GFS shows with this band. This is a heavy punch of snow showing up in the Piedmont, North Carolina, upstate South Carolina, and this can produce, I really think this could produce some thunder snow. It's going to be really convective in nature. The lapse rates are going to be there. It's because the air aloft basically is cooling so rapidly, it causes convection and convective energy. Therefore, you can have some almost thunderstorm energy, and then get some lightning and thunder with these snow squalls that can potentially pop up. But you keep this going and it fizzles out, and then maybe some snow getting as far south as Myrtle Beach, maybe even Charleston. You take a look at another model, and these things are just going click happy on me. Take a look at the Euro, and we'll get going through here in time as we're getting into overnight Friday into Saturday. Here's that snow showing up here. This is going to be a challenging forecast with the Carolinas. And I'm going to show you what some of the models are showing as far as accumulations here in a second. This is going to be really challenging because someone could jackpot and see 3 inches of snow, and then somewhere where they were calling for 1 to 2 inches of snow might not get anything. But, for central South Carolina, this has definitely trended more east. So even where I'm at, it looks like the chances for snow are really dropping. It's not really a big deal to me. I'm not really that bummed out. I already saw my snow, and I'm happy. But it really would be cool to see some flurries. And this could trend back. But the trends today with this backside moisture is for it to pivot more east instead of dig way down here. So it's trending more east and not so much so west. So we'll have to watch those trends to see if they continue overnight. But this shoots a nice band of snow into the PD of South Carolina. And like I said, this is the 12Z Euro. So the 18Z Euro is probably running right now. In fact, let's see if I can pull it up here. While we were talking, see if this is cool. This will cooperate for me. So it is running. Let's see how far it's done went out. So okay, so we have the latest information from the Euro. This will help us out here. So about the same thing. Shows that band pivoting through Charlotte, and maybe a nice band of snow wrapping into the PD of South Carolina and getting into the coastal plains of North Carolina and eastern North Carolina, some light snow. I don't think this will be heavy by any means, but it has a chance to be heavy right in this area. It really does. And I'll get a closer look at that here in a second. This is what I'm talking about. It's called the K index. So it basically tries to account for lapse rates and combines that together with tries to figure out what would be thunderstorm potential. And what's wild here is you have thunderstorm potential right when this band is moving through. These upper level lows are so dynamic, and you have such fast cooling, about 3 to 4 to 5, 6,000 feet above the atmosphere, and you have such cooling going on there, and it's rapidly getting colder up in the upper atmosphere. It causes steep lapse rates, which basically allows for thunderstorms to happen in some cases. And a lot of times that's what causes hail to happen. And that's what's going to kind of happen here potentially with some of these bands that show up. There's a chance for some lightning and thunder to happen here. I'm not talking about like a thunderstorm, all-out thunderstorm of snow, but you could get under some of them heavy bands. It could be some heavier snow. Let's take a look at the latest HRRR model. It pivots this heavy snow into, and then the next one's about to come out. And I have a feeling that this is probably going to shift east if model guidance continues. But it does show a nice band of snow. This would be heavy snow for Charlotte. I mean, this would be some probably half inch per hour rates. So this snow would be coming down pretty quickly. And this shows snow as far west as Hickory, all the way to Raleigh. This band pivots and makes it all the way down to Columbia, gets down to Florence, Fayetteville, as we're getting into the wee hours of the morning Saturday, and then makes it all the way to Charleston and then to Myrtle Beach. I think this is overdone, but we'll see. I'm hoping the HRRR model is right. That would be awesome. We look at the NAM. What does the NAM show? Well, it's definitely not quite as aggressive as that, but it does show a nice banding in Charlotte and the upstate of South Carolina. And the same thing, gets a band of snow, really looking good for Raleigh down to Florence through Fayetteville, and then makes it all the way to the coast with this too, and it gives Myrtle Beach a nice dusting of snow. And this affects areas of Wilmington, Newport, North Carolina, and Greenville, North Carolina also. You look at the RGEM model, and it's been consistent with showing any energy that does form much further east. It's consistently shown this, and it doesn't really get much of anything into South Carolina except the far areas where in Horry County, near Myrtle Beach and things like that, where some light snow gets wrapped in here as we get into our Saturday morning. So as far as snowfall accumulations, this is what the National Weather Service is saying. It's liking the idea, maybe 1 to 2 inches in and around Charlotte. It's showing 2 inches in Rock Hill. We'll see if that verifies. It'll make a lot of people up in Rock Hill very happy. Got a lot of family up in that area. Showing maybe a ½ inch to a ½ inch down here into the Midlands. And then a nice 1 to 2 inches showing up in the Triad of North Carolina, which includes areas like Winston-Salem, Greensboro, and places like that. But you take a look at the latest GFS, and it likes the Charlotte area and surrounding areas of 1 to 2 inches of snow, and shows a little stripe of snow, maybe a coating into the PD of South Carolina. Look at the latest HRRR model, which I think this is gonna change, but it does show a nice swath of a ½ inch to 1 inch of snow going almost all the way to Charleston. So it's really impressive there. And then you look at the European model, which I think the latest European model's out, which is probably not going to show as crazy totals as this, but this wants to drop 2 to 3 inches of snow in Charlotte and the surrounding counties, especially south into York County and Union County, and a nice swath. I can tell you this little area is consistently showing up. I think if you're in the Florence area, Point to East, and places like that, I think you are at least going to see some snow flying around, and maybe you could see a dusting of snow at least. You look at the NAM, not that impressive, but it does show a nice little bit of snow in the Triad and Triangle of North Carolina. But I can tell you, wherever it's snowing, this is basically the National Weather Service HREF. So basically, it's an ensemble mean that shows us how heavy this snow could be falling. So in that little blue area right here, you see that's inch per hour rates, an inch to 3/4 of an inch per hour rate. So there's a chance with this band, late Friday night into Saturday morning, they can drop some snow very quickly. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I have an update in the morning, and hope y'all are getting prepared because it's going to be a big storm for you folks in the New England. God bless.